That's according to Spanish football expert Sid Lowe, who thinks club president Florentino Perez remains a big fan of Mourinho. Mourinho left Madrid in a mutual decision after what he called the worst season of his managerial career in 2012-13, his third season in charge. Zinedine Zidane has since enjoyed major success, winning 3 straight Champions League titles, but his successor Julen Lopetegui was sacked after just 6 wins in 14 games. Santiago Solari has improved Los Blancos' fortunes, but there are murmurs he will come under serious pressure if Real lose to arch-rivals Barcelona tonight. 7:45 p.m. Having lost 5-1 in El Clasico under Lopetegui, Madrid were dumped out of the Copa del Rey at the semi-final stage by their Catalan enemies in midweek as they suffered a 3-0 home defeat, with Luis Suarez scoring a brace to add to his hat-trick against them earlier in the season. The two clubs go head-to-head again in La Liga this evening, with Real knowing that a defeat would end their hopes of a league title. They are already 9 points back on league leaders Barca and would see the gap extended to 12 points with a loss at the Bernabeu, leaving them only success in Europe to avoid a season without silverware. Former Real Madrid president Ramon Calderon tweeted this week, "I have a feeling, and maybe a little more, that Mourinho will be on the Real Madrid bench next season." And ex-Barcelona star Rivaldo also turned up the heat on Solari, declaring to Betfair, "There is definitely a lot at stake for Solari. If he loses again at the Bernabeu, then it would be goodbye to 2 competitions at the hands of Barcelona. That would be losing to your eternal rival twice in 3 days and could be very harmful for him." In that scenario, the name of Mourinho will be sounded out again. And while Mourinho has been sacked by both Chelsea and Manchester United since departing Madrid 6 years ago, Lowe told ESPN FC that he believes a return to the Spanish capital is very possible. "It's certainly true that what's happened to United since his departure is another argument against bringing him in," Lowe said of the much-maligned coach, who has nonetheless won 25 major career honors. "That doesn't necessarily guarantee and prove 100% that the problem, and the only problem, was Mourinho, but it certainly argues that things got worse with him and they became far better, and getting rid of him was beneficial for United at the very least in the short and perhaps medium term." What they remember, the memory of what happened with Mourinho at Real Madrid, it's difficult to make this make sense to people. "It was disastrous, it ended very badly, it was unsustainable. It was without doubt a season too far." Mourinho throughout that final season gave the impression that he would rather have been anywhere. When he turned up at Chelsea, he asked the classic question, "You said you were the special one, what are you now?" And he said, "I'm the happy one." That's because he was desperate to get out of Real Madrid. None of the charm was there anymore, and it was deeply unpleasant for him. Yet there's still that pull. There's that pull with Perez, that he knows that it's problematic, that it brings difficulties. There's a bit of him that looks back on Mourinho and says, "That was a manager. This is a president who doesn't trust in managers, he doesn't believe in them. He's only really given authority to one manager, and he still sees Mourinho as the only person that has confronted the dressing room and has taken them on, has been the star, and has genuinely had the gravitas that he wants in a manager despite all the other things." I have no doubt that Perez is thinking to himself, "I kind of really want to do this, but I know the risk." That's a battle that he has to decide on. He has approached Mourinho to ask him what he thinks about coming back previously. I don't know if this will happen, but it's far more plausible than it looks on the face of it. From the outside everyone looks at it and asks how it could happen, but it could.